Hi, my name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel. It is now August. Therefore, it is time to do a wrap-up of books that I read in July. Because it is August somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how, and it's kind of freaking me out. But we're gonna talk about books I read in July. So, I read a total of 6 books in July, which is above average for me, and I can probably thank Booktubeathon for that. And the first book I read in July was Wind Witch by Susan Dennard, which I gave 5 stars, which it's the sequel to Truth Witch, so it's the second Witchlands book by Susan Dennard, and so I can't really talk about the plot of it because it's a second book. Truth Witch, the first book, is about Saphia, who is a truth witch, which means that she can tell truth from lies. There's a lot of different witcheries in this world, and it kind of is funny that Saphia's ability to tell truth from lies, being a truth witch, is one of the most coveted and most, like other people want her for her ability to tell truth from lies, which, I mean, it's not that cool, but it's apparently the coolest because everyone wants to get their hands on her. It wasn't, I don't think, quite as good as Truth Witch, but I still really enjoyed it. There were a lot of things that surprised me in it, like plot-wise and just things that happened. I was like, oh, well, I didn't see that coming. And not necessarily in a bad way, but sometimes not always in a good way either. I don't know. Something. 5 stars anyway. And the second book I read in July was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, which I've been wanting to read for a really long while because I felt that I would like it, and I did. I did like it a lot. I meant to finish this book before the beginning of Booktubeathon, but then I did not. So it's technically my first Booktubeathon book as well, and I gave that 5 stars. A Darker Shade of Magic and the Shades of Magic trilogy takes place in basically like 4 Londons. There's 4 different Londons. There's Grey London, which has no magic. It is basically our London. And then Red London, which has an abundance of magic, White London, which is sort of starving for magic, and then Black London, which has been consumed by magic. The book follows Kel, who is able to traverse between these 4 different Londons, which is really cool. I gave it 5 stars, and I'm really excited to read the rest of the series and read all of Victoria Schwab's other books, because I really like her writing. I like it. It's good. The third book I read in July, and my second Booktubeathon book, was Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Promised Part 3, which I read entirely outdoors because it was very short. And I gave this 3 stars, not because I didn't like it. Usually 3 stars tends to mean I didn't like it, but I just liked it. Like, I liked it, but I didn't care that much. It was okay. It's kind of, the thing is with the Avatar comics, I compare them to the show, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Avatar: The Last Airbender was just really great, so these comics just haven't always held up to my expectations from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is no fault of theirs, because Avatar: The Last Airbender was a really good cartoon, man. It was a really good show. So, it's not its fault. And then the 4th book that I read in July, and my 3rd Booktubeathon book, was The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson, which is the first of the, I think Fire and Thorns is the name of the series, actually. And I gave this 4 stars. I liked it a lot. It took me several days to get through. If you didn't see my Booktubeathon vlogs, which no one did because they suck, but I liked it, but I didn't really love it. I didn't really feel myself grabbed in by it. Like, it was a good fantasy read. It's a YA fantasy about a girl who has been chosen to have a destiny. Like, every 100 years there's someone chosen to have this special destiny, and she has a literal gemstone in her belly, which explains why there's a gemstone on the cover, and she's married off to this king in another land, and stuff unfolds from there. I did really like it, so I gave it 4 stars. Yes, the 5th book that I read in July and my 4th Booktubeathon book was Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and I really enjoyed this book. It's less of a YA fantasy and more of like a YA contemporary that has some fantastical elements to it. Like, it's not really what I would consider a fantasy book. It's less fantasy-like than even Harry Potter. The magic stuff feels more like a background to the characters doing their character-y stuff. So, and I really enjoyed that. It was a different read. I loved it. I gave this book 5 stars. It isn't perfect, I would say. There were a few things that kind of bugged me by the end, but not enough to decrease its star rating somehow. So, yes, this is like a new favorite of mine, Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. And then the final book that I read in July and my final Booktubeathon book was The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, which is a series that I've been putting off for a while because I didn't know if I would like it, and I think I liked it more than I thought I would. It has very kind of an American Gothic, quirky feel to it. It's more supernatural than it is fantasy. I kind of thought it was going to be more magical fantasy-like, but it's a little more like supernatural, paranormal-like than I expected, which I liked. I don't know, I liked the characters more than I liked the plot. I gave this book 4 stars, and I really am excited to read the rest of the series. Like, I am interested in these characters more so than I am the plot. Like, the plot's there. The Raven Boys follows our main character, Blue, who is the daughter of a psychic and who has been told all her life that if she kisses her true love, he will die. So, that, and then there's these 4 boys who attend this prep school, and one of them really wants to find this dead Welsh king. Which I did not know that this is what this book was about, but I gave it 4 stars. It was a good book. So that was all my books for July. In August, I hope to read all the books that I put on my Booktubeathon TBR that I did not read. I did not read them. I only read one book from my Booktubeathon TBR, so I still have a pile of library books over there that I still need to read, including the second and third Girl of Fire and Thorns books, which I've just started The Crown of Embers, and I hope to read more of those books. I hope to maybe continue on with the Raven cycle. I hope to continue on with the Shades of Magic trilogy. Like, I just hope to read a lot of books soon. Like, that's my TBR. The books I want to read. All of them. All of the books. I want to read them all. I want to read them all right now. Yes. So that completes this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.